GoLoud.
I'm Brenda Dennehy.
I'm Julie Haynes.
And this is Left on Red.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Left on Red, the podcast where no topic is off limits and we get through a healthy dose of girl talk. It's like a virtual coffee date with your besties.
Sabrina Hill is some woman. Mammy to Aaron, who she had in her 20s, and baby Robin, who she had in her 40s. Life has thrown a lot at her, but she has met every challenge.
She's the owner of Copper Hair Salon in Cork City. Not only is she a successful businesswoman, but she also has a huge following online with over 113,000 Instagram followers.
In this episode, she shares her experience of anxiety, the tools she has used to help her mental health, her struggle with hyperemesis in pregnancy, and postnatal depression.
How are you?
The Queens of Cork. Queen of Copper Hair.
Maybe we're all Queens of Cork.
Yeah.
Maybe we're.
Yeah.
For today anyway.
Come here, you're here today to talk to us about life, everything, a bit of everything. Mm-hmm. What's been going on? How's everything?
Everything is grand. Robin is now 1 year old.
Oh my gosh.
How did that happen?
Fastest year
How
ever.
did it happen? Yeah, he's basically stripping, rolling around, roaring, pulling at stuff. He's very, very wild, but he's really cute.
Such a beautiful child. No, Sabrina, I don't even want kids, but I look at that child. I was at a hairdresser's getting my hair blow dried earlier, right? And I'm actually looking at you. I was like, when you came in, I was like, Sabrina, looking at my hair. Do you ever look at people's hair?
I never look at
Curious.
people's hair outside of the salon. Never. And everyone says it to me, don't look at my hair now.
Yeah.
And I never look at it. The only way I look at it is if their hair is really, really good. And then I want to know who did it.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you want a job with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said it to the girls in the hair salon. I said, we've Sabrina Hill. And they were going on about Robin. That he's the cutest baby. I was like, he is? He's adorable.
I'm really biased because he's my child,
Yeah.
but then I love hearing it from other people. He's very cute though.
He's beautiful.
I have him well trained though. That camera is
that's
on
it.
him all the time.
I know. Do you mind sharing him?
No, I don't mind at all. I like, if you don't want to put something online, you won't.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm proud of him. I don't mind. From, I suppose, a security kind of thing, I don't think there's anything threatening in any way. Like, I can understand some people when they don't want to put their children up. But then the argument is there, why put them up at all and put an emoji over their face?
That
I really
annoys
don't
me.
understand that at all. Just leave them off.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
don't put them up.
I agree
It
with
makes no
you.
sense at all.
Bugs
But
me
each
when I
to their
see
own.
that. Yeah, exactly. And I share the twins and I love sharing them. I love sharing what we get up to every single day. And like you, I'm proud of my kids.
Well, I think the difference is that I suppose some people, like, whatever way you look at it, we're influencers. All three of us sitting here. In some way we've influence and some of us make money off being online. But the thing is that I am always going to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, always going to be honest. And by putting Robin up there, that's my life. Talking about the IVF, talking about the struggles we had, talking about the horrible pregnancy, everything. That's all my life. And I want to share that with everyone. And you know, people like that, I love looking at other people that are like that. Yeah. I never see that judgmental side on things, and I don't understand that either. So I suppose, like, I just do my thing then.
And when you do get nasty comments, because look, we all get the nasty comments and the nasty DMs, is it mostly on your parenting?
I have received nothing on parenting. Oh. And I actually think the reason for that is there's a certain level of fear about me. Do you know the way some people are afraid of their teachers? I think I sit in that category. I'm very open. And I suppose it's my age as well. I'm in my 40s. But even I thought for a split second when I started talking about the fact that I was not going breastfeeding. I didn't want to. I wanted a formula feed and that's what was going to suit me and suit my life. I thought I'd get backlash. But there were so many women that were like, that's exactly how I feel.
Applauded you, like.
Yeah, and they don't like being belittled for their decisions on how they want to live their life. And I think in that sense, it made people a little bit wary. They probably just knew that they weren't going to get a reaction.
Yeah.
Because I feel a lot of people who are nasty online, they're doing it to get a reaction a lot of the time. Because like, we're all going to sit at home with our friends and have a chat about whatever is happening kind of in our lives or about someone that we know. It just happens. It's just that some of us don't cross that line to say to a stranger, well, they obviously think they know us, but say something to a stranger that they don't know and to actually say really, really nasty things. Because I think a lot of the people that come into the box or into your DMs that say something that, let's say, I would deem as being nasty, they actually don't think they're nasty.
I know.
Yeah, that's
Do you know,
yeah.
they think that they have the God-given right to tell you how to do things. Rarely actually about Robin. Rarely.
Very good.
Yeah, I never find it about that. Sometimes about what you're wearing.
And
And
look,
that's we just spoke about that last week about your parents.
Yeah.
Hate that.
Yeah, it's kind of that annoys me a little bit, but like you kind of have to get over that as well.
I just replied like, we can't all be as gorgeous as you, Joan. Like, Joan, you stunner. Like, go away from me. Like,
but there's going to be a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
Do you know, that will always do that. It just, some people then cross the line by having to make an account.
and go out of their way making an account.
Make up an email address to set up this fake Instagram page or fake TikTok page just to attack us.
Can I just say, I have anxiety when I even have to switch over to a new phone and I have to get back into my Instagram. I'm like, mother of God, what is my password? Do I have it written down? Is it somewhere? I don't understand how these people have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different accounts and have different passwords.
Yeah. It's shocking, isn't it?
A lot of the
I
time
applaud the way that they can remember that kind of stuff. Sometimes I don't know what day it is. I really don't. But like to get to that level of kind of like making up different people.
Yeah. And
talking about yourself in the third person.
At some stage, you're not going to remember. Your Instagram, like you were big on the Snapchat days. You say big on the Snapchat days. I remember you on Snapchat.
Yeah.
But I think you really blew up, especially around the Caroline Flack after she passed away in 2020. She took her own life very sadly.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, when we're speaking actually today, the Met Police are going to actually investigate arresting her and all that. But I remember the Be Kind movement, we'll say. I think around that time, you were very, very prominent in that movement.
Do you know what? I do, like, first of all, there's 2 ways of looking at this. I think we're gone beyond the Be Kind. I think people aren't getting that message. I think what we need to do now is be accountable.
Yeah.
Because if you decide to go and cross that line, to go across the line and to make the decision to be nasty at someone on purpose, then you have to learn that there's consequences. I have a business. Sometimes I have up to 18 people working for me. And if that happened inside my business, they would be fired. They would be let go. There would be consequences of that. And I kind of wish people would realise you will become unemployable if it gets found out that you're one of those people that behaves that way. Because instantly you're a liar. You're a person that's lying about who you are. You're pretending to be someone else. And you're going out there to bully someone. And if people realised that you become unemployable when you behave that way, I think that's a very important message. Now, I think we're gone beyond it with women from the ages of 30 upwards. I think there's some psychological problems there. There's something going on in their lives that is making them upset. And I think it would be very, very hard to deter that age group from doing it. And I'm saying this from the perspective that I see this all the time. I see it around the place. I am a 42-year-old woman who meets about 9 different women a day. So this is across all different aspects of different kind of people. We need to go into the schools. You need to teach this from 13, 14, 15 years of age. People need to go, like whether it be influencers or people who have a platform. Like some of the guys that are presenting on TV, and Brenda, you'd know this, they receive horrendous trolling. And like, not that I am a fan of any politicians or anything, but like I do believe Leo Varadkar, a big part of his decision to step down was the amount of abuse he's getting. Because if you can see openly, just in a comment section, the type of things that are typed in.
Sickening.
And people are clearly showing their own face and their handle, their name, everything, and they're able to type that. Can you imagine the degree of what's going into a box or what's going into anything? And a lot of those politicians stay quiet about it. Totally Similar agree. To the royal family and Kate Middleton and
that was horrific. That
level that it's allowed.
Yeah.
Do you know that all of this is allowed? So I do believe that this generation is gone. We need to go way, way back, and you need to teach people similar. Like I do remember when we were younger, there was a big thing that if you got caught doing drugs and you had a criminal record, you could not go to America.
I couldn't go to Australia.
And it put the fear of God in like that age category of 17 to 25. Like, do you know what I mean? No one wanted to get caught doing anything bad to get a criminal record because they didn't have, even if they didn't want to go, do you know, that option was not there for them. So it's like to teach the young people, this will be on your record.
Very true.
I love that.
I'm interested in what you say, and we had a chat about this as well, Jewel. You know, the way a public figure, whatever, this thing that kills me. He's fair game though, he's politician. What do you think of that?
No. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace.
They're still human in the end of the day. Everyone has feelings.
But it's not even that. It's put it back on the person that actually says something like that.
Yeah.
That is just like, that's mind-blowing that someone would have that mentality that just because who you are, whether what race you are, because basically if you're saying that that person is an influencer or a politician or on, let's say, a platform, you're more likely to say that about any race, about any person, their education, what level they are, what job they do. You will handpick what you think, what your beliefs are. And that's a very dangerous way to be.
Yeah, no, you're dead right. And anyways, you're 42. Two beautiful kids. So you have Aaron, who's 22, is it?
He's 22 years of age.
And then you have Robin, who's only 1. Yeah. So, wow, like...
I totally forgot. Totally forgot. No, it's way better. Yeah. It's way better. My first experience of motherhood, though, it wasn't planned. And I did have like a really rough time afterwards. I spent up to around 6 months inside in a psychiatric unit with severe depression, psychosis and everything. Hormones all over the place. And I was very, very unwell. I was very young as well.
How old were you having Aaron?
I was 20.
20.
Yeah.
And how old was he when you were diagnosed?
I was about 3-4. I was about 3 or 4 months. I was about 3 or 4 months postpartum.
Yeah.
So he was about kind of 3 or 4 months. But I do remember that going back from like the day I gave birth, I remember I did not want my mum to leave me.
And the hospital, is it? Yeah, okay.
And I suppose before that, when I was pregnant, I kind of dropped all my friends. There was a couple of things where I was the only person in my group who was pregnant. I felt like my life is over. I really did not know Aaron's dad that well at the time. And it was a case of that I put myself in a position where I was running away with an awful lot of thoughts. And eventually, when he was around 3-4 months old, I started feeling like that I was a burden on people.
Did you? Yeah.
It was a really dangerous place to get to.
Because you were asking your mum for so much help with the baby, is that?
No, I just felt that I would be better off not on this planet. That I was just going to be just a burden on the baby. I was not going to be a good mother. I was a burden on my parents because I was now back living at home with a baby, and that just, what good was I on this earth, literally.
And you were did you have these feelings from day one since he was born, or just...
I think that built up. Okay. And I really think that the biggest part of that was that I didn't speak up.
Yeah.
And I didn't. Similarly, I listened to your story, Brenda, like literally about addiction and everything, and you know how difficult it is, and you probably do as well through life experiences, just not talking up.
Yeah.
And I really believe that like there can be someone listening to this right now who's in her 30s and feeling the exact same. I don't think it was just because it was 20-year-old Sabrina who had an unplanned pregnancy. But like when you get to that stage and you feel like that, you really need to remember that if your best friend or if your sister or mum or anybody at all, even a person you work with, knew that you were feeling so bad and you didn't open up to them, they would be horrified. Yeah. You need to get into your head that you need to actually pick up the phone. Even if it's someone listening right now, pick up the phone, text. Or even if you're a friend that knows that someone's struggling or thinks that they are, text them right now.
And what did you do? Did you sit down with your mum and explain to your mum how you felt? Did you go to a GP or like?
I made an attempt on my life.
Did you?
I did. And I was very unwell and thank God found on time. And I ended up in hospital for a couple of weeks and then transferred on to St. Stephen's.
And this is all when Aaron was 3 to 4 months old?
Yeah. He was about 3 months old, I think. Around 2 months old.
Because you just felt, I should not be here, I'm a burden.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that I was a burden. No, I wasn't in the right place either because something like that builds up and up and up. And do you know what? Hormones raging.
Yeah, of course they were.
And like literally trying to breastfeed because I should be that mother. Yeah. I should be that mother.
You were probably trying to prove yourself as well because you were so young.
Yeah, I was. And like then I remember meeting friends and so innocently it was said to me, oh, you're pregnant. Are you still with the father? Who's the father? Are you hairdressing? Yeah, I'm in Mary Eiting teaching.
Oh, no.
And I suppose like it wasn't the way that they said that. They just said that. It's the way I picked it up.
I know. Yeah.
Because I was already feeling less of a person. So I thought that my future was bleak. And of course it wasn't. And I suppose, do you know what? That really helped with the decision of why I was like, I will not be breastfeeding this time. I am not putting myself under that pressure.
Exactly.
Because it's similarly to being on a plane. If you get into trouble when you're on a plane, they'll always say to you, put on your own oxygen mask before you attend to your child. And I think that a lot of women need to put themselves first. Not even after having a baby, in life, women need to put themselves first.
So just going back to that, so you took an attempt on your own life and you were found and you were taken by ambulance to a unit.
Yeah. Well, I was in intensive care for a while. I was very unwell. Yeah, I was very unwell.
I never knew this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it a case you woke up or something like that? I don't want to know what you did.
No, Robin, Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron woke up and woke
baby.
everyone up, yeah.
And he actually started crying and
He
woke
started
your
crying and I
parents up in the
didn't.
house.
Yeah, and I didn't.
Oh, my
I was
God.
living at home at the time. Yeah,
So
my
your
mum got
mum
up.
came.
Yeah.
He literally saved
Saved
your
my
life.
life.
Oh my God,
he
Sabrina.
did. But he did in many ways. Even as he was getting like I suppose you can get into a spiral of being kind of very, very unwell with mental illnesses, and I do believe that you have to have a why, as well as getting help, as well as getting treatment. That you have to have a why. And at that time, he was my driver, and he was for a very, very long time. He drove me to kind of get up, get a job again, reinvent myself, everything. So like, because I was very unwell for a long time, but I still had a baby to look after, and like my parents were amazing, but I still had to rear him.
And did you get the diagnosis then in the hospital that time round?
So a lot of the time I was heavily medicated. It was very difficult to pull me out of it. I think now, knowing what way that I am myself, I think hormones had a big play as well. And I think that a lot of the medication didn't quite sit very well with me. And I kind of started hallucinating and hearing things. And I suppose there was a level of psychosis that happened throughout that. And I needed to be hospitalised and I needed to be well-minded and looked after. And I think because of that, I was a little longer getting better. Yeah. But eventually they got the medication right. I came out and I can honest to God say cognitive behavioural therapy was a lifesaver.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't be the leader I am today. I wouldn't have the businesses that I have today without having that, because it made me really learn who I am and to not be afraid of speaking out or talking out. Even what you said about the whole Caroline Flack thing, it made me have that confidence. Yeah. And I think like a lot of people have, I would say this about the two of you. You have great confidence. And someone said to me recently, why do you have confidence? And I'd put you two in the same bracket as well. It's because you're honest.
Yeah.
It's because you're very, very honest. I'm very, very honest. We talk about our lives, and we're now at the point where sometimes when we talk out loud, like with you and your experience, you're helping so many people.
Yeah. And you're helping so many people now as well by
I
being
hope
here
so.
today, Sabrina. So thank you so much.
Yay! Go on.
I actually, do you know, you're saying confiding people. If people who are listening as well, to know as well that if you do confide in someone, they're actually thinking it as like an honour. Like if one of my friends said, I need to tell you, and people don't realise that. And I think for people listening, if there is something in you and you feel like you can't tell someone, because if they knew you were suffering like that and they didn't know. A friend of mine in London there during the week, she's like, I don't want to be a burden, and she confided in me, but I was like, if you didn't tell me this and I knew this was going to, I'd be hurt. I'd be offended. Same if it was for you, Julie, something like that. For anyone listening, it's an honour for someone to confide in you.
And I think as well that a lot of women go through similar things and they don't talk about it. One thing that's come up recently a lot is female ghosting. Like we've all been in a situation where a friend has just dropped us. And it happened to me a couple of times in my life, and you just don't know what's going on and you don't want to say it. And it's not even a burden thing. It's like, it's embarrassing.
Oh, it's
you
mortifying.
think, what did I do? What did I do? And I don't want to say it to another friend because they'll be like, well, she must have done something.
Yeah, totally.
And then if you say it to your fella or anyone else at home, they'll be just like, she was a bitch anyway.
Yes.
And like, that's not helpful.
Yeah, it's
so
hard.
Like, you don't feel like saying certain things as well, but it's happened to all of us. And I think women need to talk more.
Yeah.
It's similar to the way I hear my mum, she's a headache. I won't take a paracetamol. Like, take something.
Yeah.
We just battle on with everything. Life, mental wellness,
Absolutely.
and life things.
And do you think 20-year-old Sabrina put an awful lot of pressure on herself? Because you were so young, because your group of friends didn't have babies, you were probably one of the first to have a baby. Were you like, I'll try to breastfeed now. I won't tell my friends. I won't tell my mum that I'm struggling here. I'll sweep everything under the carpet.
Do you know what? To a certain extent, yes. But I really feel now that I've come out of the other end.
Brilliant,
I was really meant to go through all of that. God, there's some life lessons to be learned in those kind of stages. And to have them so young is even better. And as dramatic and horrendous it was for my family, I kind of never look at it like that anymore. I kind of blocked out. I suppose I don't remember a lot of it as well. I was very heavily medicated. So kind of like when I got to that point, there were so many people supporting me and helping me that I kind of, I suppose, I got on with it as best as I could.
You did,
you know?
yeah. And did you have to stay in there then as well for a couple of weeks? Or?
Yeah. So when I was in the unit, I had to stay there for a number of weeks. And it wasn't inside in the main hospital. There's units there for different women to go in. And it's still a hospital, like, do you know what I mean? And you'd stay there for a couple of weeks while they kind of sorted your medication and had therapy and counselling and see how you are. And then I'd go home maybe some weekends.
Okay, yeah.
And just kind of like I can see how it would be very difficult for a person that was very mentally unwell to be just dropped back home.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of people, like when you're inside somewhere like that, you're with a lot of people who are unwell, you know, and you kind of fall into that category of sitting there with them and thinking, oh yeah, I'm grand, or I'm a bit better than them, or do you know what I mean? And then you go home and you realise you're not well either. And it's very up and down. Like, it has to be gradually done. With some people, obviously, every single person is really, really different. Yeah.
And was the psychosis diagnosed after you've been diagnosed with psychosis? What did they say it was because of birth or because of like the shock of everything? I suppose, or
I think it was just all part of what was going on, my mental illness, and you wouldn't be able to rule out the fact that medication would have been a part of that, like I suppose when you're taking it. And I find that very difficult to even talk about sometimes, because I never want to come across kind of like, oh, don't take medication. But there was definitely medication that very much didn't agree with me.
Yeah.
And I had to go on antidepressants later in life, a couple of years ago. And I started nearly going back into that kind of category again. So there's certain medications that don't agree with me at all to take the newer type of antidepressants. So, and I always say that with caution, because if you're prescribed something to take it, go by your doctor's advice. So I would say a lot of it was down to that. But like, if I wasn't on medication, like, I could have gone into psychosis as well. You're talking about a huge amount of hormonal changes in your body.
Yeah.
Do you know, a huge amount.
So they obviously gave you a lot of medication. And was there a lot of like meetings and stuff in there as well? Would you sit down and with a group or?
Actually, not a whole pile, to be honest with you. I think the bigger thing when I was in there was trying to regulate my medication.
Okay.
And when I did go home, there was a huge amount of therapy and counselling that I did when I was at home. And I suppose in my case, I had a young child, so it was important for me to be with my child. I think that was a big thing, that like to keep you together. And I remember there was another gorgeous woman who was in there at the same time. She was actually a midwife, and she had 2 small babies at home, and she was quite unwell. And the same thing as well. It was like, let's get these women home to their children. So that's very important.
It is, of course.
And you don't think it at the time because you think that's all bad and I'm a burden on people. But like, it's very, very important to try and get that bond, because I didn't bond very well with Aaron when I first had him.
At the start,
I overbonded afterwards. So, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a
Actually,
great
girl
mother.
that I was in treatment with in Galway 5 years ago, and she had only given birth to her child 4 months, and she went in to do treatment for 12 weeks.
That's a very tough thing.
Yeah.
There must be a lot of guilt attached to that.
Oh, there was huge guilt. And then you get a weekly visit, and her mother would bring the child and everything, and sure, we'd be heartbroken for her, you know. But she's now 5 years sober, and the children are flying it and everything, and it's absolutely amazing. But she had to do at the time what you had to do. You know, I think some people were kind of looking, but like, why isn't she with the child? But she was
doing it for her kids.
She was
doing it
mentally
for her
not
family.
well.
Like,
exactly. She was doing it like you were doing for
But you know what?
Aaron.
When it ties it all in together, then that experience of me being so well in hospital, then I was able to teach Aaron so much.
Yeah.
Like, I have been very honest with him about everything.
Good, yeah.
And I think that's kept him in check. And I will be, and I'm so grateful for this, the first person he will call when he's going through something.
Good, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
except when he fails an exam. Then he is scared of his mama. I thought I was dying.
Yeah.
I literally thought I was dying. And like, in the worst part of my hyperemesis, I remember I was like, couldn't open my eyes, and I was vomiting, and I'd literally go to the toilet at the same time. Just like,
Was that on Aaron as well?
No, nothing.
We were
ever to
never
that extent.
diagnosed on Aaron, were you?
I think that there was 20 years ahead. A body of a woman is much, much different when she's in her 40s or pregnancy. And I really do believe that does. My age did not help matters.
I do recall your Instagram at the time, and I had so much sympathy for you. Oh, you being so sick with hyperemesis and Robin.
And it was hard as well being out of work. And it made me so angry the way this country is run.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it. I'll never forget the first time that I had got my prescription from my doctor, my consultant, and he was like, here's the medication, this will help you. I'm just letting you know it's very expensive. And I went down, it was €300 for my medication and it was not on the drugs payment scheme. I was like, oh my God, but like, I'm very privileged. I was able to pay for it and I was able, but then...
How many weeks worth is that?
That is about 4 weeks. 4 weeks.
Oh €300 for a month.
For some, that could be a week's wages.
That's absolutely...
But do you know what the scary thing about it is?
Go on.
A man can get Viagra for free over the counter.
Yeah.
So this led me on to this whole, I went shouting and roaring for a long, long time. It's actually a disgrace, like the way that the medication...
It's shocking in Ireland.
And it's not just that medication. Since I've been unwell with the hormone imbalancement, there has been, the poor pharmacist, she just says, I'm so sorry, Sabrina, this is not on the DPS. And I'm like, is it a woman's only medication? And they're like, it is.
Yeah, of course.
We are literally not looked after in this country.
No, it's a man's world.
It really, and it's an actual disgrace.
It is, and actually, one of the girls, she actually suffered really bad as well, her hyperemesis, when she was pregnant. And I remember anytime one of us was going away on a holiday, she'd ring us, bring me back is a carbon.
It's €18.
€18 in Spain.
€18 for the same amount of medication.
I went one time, I had to bring her back the medication. My mom went, she had to get the carbon out in Spain for her. Like €18
Julie,
in Spain.
There was women that messaged me. There was one woman that messaged me and she said, I got sick this morning after taking my tablet and I stuck my hand down the toilet to take the tablet up. And there's other women who told me it was either choosing the grocery shopping or this medication. Like the cost of this on the state, there were women, every time I was in there was loads of women that were inside in the waiting room, all dripped up. Like the cost on the state to have women that cannot go to work because they cannot afford to take a medication.
I remember
it's an utter disgrace.
You drafted a letter, didn't you? And you were sending it to all the TDs.
Every TD.
How many replied?
Oh, well, Michael Healy-Rae rang me the following morning.
I believe he would, all right.
Most of them got their secretary Joan to email me.
Of course, yeah.
So very, very little. There was a few that were very, very good. But to be honest with you, I know this, I actually don't care now, I'm just going to say it. I'm like, literally, there were some TDs who were very, very happy backbenchers to fight the cause.
Yeah.
That were just to get their name made. Because now they're very, very slow to talk about anything else that's going on in the world, such as Palestine or kind of anything like that. So everything has changed my view completely on the whole lot of it. Do you know?
How, like, what month did you go on this carbon?
October. So September, October. So I would have been kind of pregnant August and then it was kind of going into October when I would have started.
Straight away.
So then, back then, it wasn't on the DPS or anything, but then they changed the law in January for the new year, and they said, oh, it is on the DPS, but you now have to get a signature from not just an obstetrician, a consultant obstetrician. So like most women in this country do not see a consultant until they're over the 20 weeks. They don't see anyone in the first trimester. So like a lot of women were like, unless they had the privilege of being a private patient, they were not getting that signature. It was a privileged medication. That's disgusting in this country. And it's really, really, really sad that women have to scream and shout just to live a normal life, literally. And like, this is not a medication. Like, it's not licensed. But there's plenty of medications that aren't licensed for men that are on the DPS. So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
So did you have to stay on that now for your whole pregnancy and spend?
I was, and then when I was no, so it was on the DPS.
Oh,
then
because
from
it came true.
But it was still €80. It shouldn't have been €80. No. Maternity care should be free. Like, do you know every woman has given birth to a taxpayer in this country? Yeah. And how many do we carry?
Yeah.
And yet we're here having to pay for medication.
That made you, because you couldn't even work.
No, listen. I was very lucky. I had my own business and I had a team to work there, but I had to come back to work at 5 weeks when Robin was 5 weeks. Now, I was happy to come back. I love what I do. But what about the women that have to go back because of the financial burden that happens to them, like, in a situation like that and have no choice? Yeah. Like, that leads to a lot of mental health issues.
Of course it does, yeah.
It really, really does.
And because I didn't have hyperemesis when I was pregnant on the twins, so I don't understand it. So if I owned a business and Mary was ringing me, I'm sick at home, I'm pregnant, like, I'd be grand, come in. Do you know? Because I never experienced it. So they could actually get fired because they're constantly ringing in, I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick.
Not nowadays.
Yeah, but you know, like, they could be nervous to ring in. Or,
do you know what? It's not that. They could just have an employer who just is ignorant and does not understand.
And
and that is a terrible thing in itself. Like, it really, really is.
Wild.
And I suppose you were speaking about Robin, and he mentioned earlier he was an IVF baby.
He was.
And you think he was a miracle baby? I think
He was a miracle
you said
baby.
it before on your Instagram.
Yeah, just, do you know, for the fact that we didn't know at the time that hormone imbalancement was there, but like out of 9 eggs, he was the only one that survived. So even when they did the implantation and he was in me, they said the rest of them has died. We have nothing to freeze. So it was like, oh my God. But I still remember one of the nurses inside in the clinic saying, it only takes one.
It only takes
one.
Yeah.
And then you were an older mother having Ram. Were you 41?
40. I was 41 having him.
And then we'll say, you met Dean probably, is it 2 years ago?
3 years.
3 years ago.
We were 3 years together.
If you were, we'll say leading up to 3 or 4 years ago, were you like, was there anything like, I'm done with children, nothing's going to happen?
I never wanted children.
It was like totally not planned.
It passed through my head and kind of like, and sure, I was all over.
You were
clients in
you were
Dubai. I'd work here, there,
yeah.
and working everywhere. And I had a lovely life, a great life. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I had to stop. I've never stopped in my life.
Yeah,
never. Yeah. And then a friend introduced me to Dean, and Dean was living in London for years, and then he was back here in Ireland, and we met. And within 2 weeks, we knew that was it. I met the love of my life.
And you knew you wanted children with him from then on.
Do you know what? He's such an amazing man.
Yeah.
And I just knew he needed to have a child.
Yeah.
But he didn't care. He was like, you know what? I'm cool. I have you. My life is made. But like, I knew that he would be an amazing father. And I kept saying to him when I was pregnant, through the sickness, I was like, you're going to love this child so much.
Yeah, yeah. Was he like traumatized because you were so sick?
It was very upsetting for him.
Yeah.
Like, I would say now that if I said, guess what?
Yeah.
I'm pregnant. He would, I'm not, by the way, just so anyone's listening.
Yeah.
But he would be like literally going,
yeah, and how different he would be. Yeah. Because
he'd
you were a
be
little bit toddler now running around, and then you've been so sick. It's hard.
But sure, at the end of the pregnancy, I remember that Dean kept saying, how am I going to feed him? And how am I going? I was like, don't worry about it, babe. I've got this. I've done this all before.
Yeah.
My hyperemesis came over me straight after my section. And I was lying in the bed, no good to anyone. And I kept vomiting and vomiting. He was just sitting there holding me. I don't know what to do. And all he could remember in his head was like, it's okay, babe. I've got this.
Yeah. And how long did the hyperemesis last then? Like,
oh, I didn't hold Rob, and I'd say barely held him until the following day. So then woke up, grand.
wow. And you were fine then from then on.
Me food.
Yeah.
Give me food.
Give me food. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, beyond naughty. I wanted everything.
Yeah.
Then do you know what? I craved, and I've eaten loads of since, vegetables.
Did you? Yeah.
I never really liked vegetables or salads or anything like that, but like the freshness, the crunch, I couldn't taste anything fresh. The only thing that like helped me were ham sandwiches.
Ham sandwiches?
Toasted ham sandwiches, bland as you could get.
On your pregnancy?
On my pregnancy. And then afterwards I was like, just give me all the freshness.
And I craved oranges, that was it? Just oranges.
Citrus fruits. That's common enough. I've heard a couple of people saying that.
I was living in Australia as well. Like, I don't know, did I just...
They were nice oranges, no, they weren't like the ones down below in the shop.
I come here. How was Aaron then when you told him you were pregnant? Sure, how old would he have been? 21?
He was delighted.
Was he? Yeah.
I was shocked.
Yeah. Were you nervous telling him?
No.
Yeah.
I kind of... Do you know what the weird thing is? Aaron is a child that when he left to go to college, it was very upsetting because I knew he was gone.
Yeah.
He's fiercely independent.
Fair play.
And he's like literally, he's up there now and he's gigging and going to gigs and bands and playing music and everything. College comes third.
Isn't it?
Yeah, he's in Galway at the moment. Total creative little head in him.
Yeah.
But he was so delighted. He was like, I'm not going to be an only child.
Oh.
And I was actually shocked that he was like that. But like, it's been amazing. He doesn't come home that often, but when he does, it's great. Robin is just staring at him.
Obsessed.
He's obsessed with him. Yeah, he is really obsessed with him. So it's very cute. But he gets on. He's getting on great in Galway.
Great.
He is.
I think he looks like a model. I think whenever I see Aaron, I'm like, he's so tall. He's got that model look. I think he could be.
That's because he came out of me.
Yeah.
When I see him,
You made him.
but he looks so happy as well. He looks very happy in himself.
He is.
He
actually
very content
really is.
and secure.
He is. And you know what? He was a young man that didn't make many friends in school. Like, he had all his friends and stuff like that. But, like, they weren't into the same things. Like, he did rowing because the lads did rowing and a lot of lads played sports. But then when he got, like, to college, he was like, oh, my God, I'm really into the music scene, surfing, everything. He's just, like, totally different. Not what's at home. So he's really found his own little tribe now. It's actually cool.
He found himself. And do you think he'll ever come back down to Cork?
I don't know.
He loves Galway so much,
like it's really you just don't know because he could be a complete home bird.
Yeah.
When he's broke, he'll come home.
Yeah, of course, like we all do.
We get the phone call.
And come here, how's Copper?
Copper is flying it.
So, like,
Thank
you're in
God.
the middle of Cork City. I remember going to you, Sabrina, years ago. You were in Glanmire.
Go away.
Yeah.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah,
I'm very bad.
And then I went to Australia for a couple of years, came back, and I was like, I'll go back into Sabrina. Rang, and the girls were like, oh, her waiting list is like low, like her gone. Like, you can never get back into with Sabrina again. Like, it's like, fuck it, I was only out in Australia, I'm home, I need her again. They're like, no.
Oh, it's really busy, thank God. And I'm really, really, really lucky. I have an amazing team. And it's like everyone that's there just wants to keep learning and keep working, and they get it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm actually fiercely proud of that salon because that was in my head.
Yeah.
That was my dream. And like that came true.
Yeah.
That came true. That's cool.
You actually did my sister's hair in Dubai as well.
Oh, go away.
Yeah, I did with Julie, yeah.
Oh, I remember.
Big, real blonde hair.
Real
amazing
blonde hair. How's her hair now?
Great.
Good.
And what's next for you? Personal life, business life?
Oh, I suppose, do you know what? Having the baby gave me a little bit of a break to really assess everything that I was doing even online. I actually took maternity leave from being online, even though nobody noticed that. I didn't do many of the adverts that I usually do in the online creator work and stuff. I gave that, but I'm back at it now with a new agency, and it's kind of, I hope to get back more into media work.
Oh, good, yeah.
Yeah, media work.
You were on
and
This
kind of
Morning
like,
and everything.
And ITV's, I was their hair correspondent
I
in
remember
the
that.
middle of COVID.
That was
about hair for hair.
amazing.
It was very cool, very scary.
That was really
because
big.
I do TV3 quite a lot, and I'm like,
Yes.
that's grand,
Yeah.
but like this was very scary because they sent a crew over in the salon.
Wow.
And it was,
That's-
I'd wear an earpiece and I didn't like that.
Yeah,
Someone
yeah.
was talking to me and I
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
see them.
I
Yeah.
will tell you the standard is when I work on the show before Good Morning Britain.
Yes.
Before, and the standard people like ITV daytime have for guests is high. So just take that. They don't just throw anyone on. No, I mean, I
Thank
remember
you.
that time. It was like Jesus.
And I'm hungry for that again and to kind of get back more into
Yeah.
that kind of stuff and really good. And hair, because hair is my life.
Yeah, it is.
I love it.
You are a hair educator. Like, as
Yes.
in, you know, some
but to
people
the
are-
people. It's
Yeah,
not just hairdresser. I prefer being a hair educator to the people.
Yes, but like I think I texted you about extensions not so long. But if I had something to hair, you'd be someone I'd be like, I'll text Sabrina now, she'll know. But that's
I love that.
You're known as that. You know that Sabrina Hill would know.
And I'm always here to help. Any hair problems, message me.
Message you.
Yeah.
I'd be,
Well,
we're
Sabrina's
sorry
been-
you said that. I'll be texting
Yeah.
you every day.
Yeah.
I know I'm
Bad
used to
hair
it. That's
is
grand.
I asked you to bring up hairspray. Hairspray.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have hairspray. Will I bring
for
up
you?
a wand?
I said, do you want a wand? I've loads of them at home now.
I did
Loads.
we actually bring up and do for curls, but I didn't know him. Sabrina, it's been an absolute pleasure.
I'm honoured now. Thanks
Thanks,
a million,
Joy.
girls.
No.
Really mean that.
Thank
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 you.
you so much.